Get back to one of our other big headlines tonight, and the public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane finds herself on the wrong side of the law again. A full bench of the High Court has set aside her report on President Ramaphosa's ANC presidential campaign. It is a scathing judgment. The court says she lacks basic understanding of the law and has made irrational findings. Joining us now, legal commentator Nthabiseng Dubazana. Good evening to you and welcome. The bench goes on to say that she failed to correctly apply the law and assess the evidence before her. Cyril Ramaphosa's lawyer says, and I quote, "If it wasn't so tragic, it would almost be a joke." That is the last thing that a lawyer wants to hear. How can she survive this?
Well, she intends on taking this further. She wants to take it to the Constitutional Court for appeal, which means she has faith in what her findings were when she was doing this entire report. So maybe things like perhaps when President Cyril Ramaphosa applied to the court to have his bank statement sealed while she was trying to do investigations, maybe she feels that such things, had they been brought to light, would have brought more evidence or strength to her case. But hearing such words must be very disheartening as an attorney or as an advocate in such a situation. But yeah.
You're the expert here, but it sounds to me as if she is trying to follow a procedural path,
yes,
and she's grasping at straws here.
Most likely, yeah, because if it's a full bench, so most likely, not most likely, guaranteed they have discussed this judgment to make sure that they are not making the wrong kind of finding. At least if one judge had dissented from one of them, there would have been hope for her that most likely when it goes to the Constitutional Court, she might win the appeal. However, she has that right to take it further, and let's see if a bench in the Constitutional Court will differ from the High Court.
Fair enough. I mean, she's entitled to do it, but at whose cost?
Well, that will be the state's cost, unless, unlike today, then it's made that she must pay the costs of the whole matter. But until...
And these are punitive costs as well.
Correct, so. And maybe that same judgment will be upheld when it goes higher into the Constitutional Court as well. So for now, it will be flipped by the state, because it's going there as the office of the public protector, not her in her personal capacity.
It also raises questions, does it not, about the efficacy of her office. So the judgment also says that she completely failed to properly analyze and understand the facts and evidence at her disposal, and she also showed a complete lack of basic knowledge of the law and its application. Whether or not she survives this is perhaps a political conversation that we'll be having with my colleague Karima Brown a little bit later. But it does raise questions, surely, about the kind of support that she's getting in the office. This is not one person, is it?
Correct. So I would like to believe that with the other attorneys that are working with her in her office, when she does such research, there has to be some kind of roundtable discussion, and we go through all these documents together and we come to an agreement that yes, we have a case here, let's proceed. But if that's not the case that's happening, she's doing this on her own, then it's a failure not only on her part, but the office itself is failing to work together as a team to make sure that the things that they bring forth to the public are worth the public's ears. I don't know if I'm making sense.
You're making sense to me. What does this say, though, about future cases, about confidence in her ability now to get this done? Because we haven't got time to get into all of them, but it's not the first time that she has got things wrong according to the courts.
Very correct. So now the question is, at this stage, it's not the question of whether the public trusts her or not. The question is now, will the public continue to go to the public protector for help? So that is where I believe the country is at now. So history has shown that she's been doing error after error. Now, if I apply as a normal human being and not in parliamentary seatings, will I be able to get the kind of help that I need from the public protector when I look at the track record of her office currently?
So flesh that out for us. If that's the case, if there is, and I'm going to suggest it's not even a gradual erosion of confidence now, it must be more than that. If people are now saying, well, I'm just not going to go to the public protector, what's the consequence of that?
The question is now, will the office now survive this rebellion, for lack of a better term, of the public? And if it does survive, what do they do about the current person who is holding office? You must remember there's no exact law or procedure in how to fire a public protector. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place as to what to do for the remainder of her term.
Well, let's assume that there is a complete lack of confidence, which is patently either the case or was building towards that. what efforts could be made to remove her from office? Or is she going to cling there like a barnacle?
She has the right to cling there. It's her office, it's her contract. But perhaps like every other amendment of the Constitution, it can be put forth that let's amend this part of the Constitution, that if we find that we lack confidence in the public protector, there is a way to remove the person who holds office at that moment and put somebody else who we feel is now competent to continue. I would believe it would be the best way.
Also raises bigger questions about the legal profession in this country, doesn't it?
Quite so. The sad thing about our profession is that a good majority of us try very much to do things the right way. Recently, just last week, I was with a very good magistrate that I work with, and he informed me that one of the attorneys that I thought was actually pretty good has been practicing for a few years, and he's not even qualified. So there's a lot of ghost attorneys and fake attorneys roaming the courts, and people who actually even go higher in the rankings without any qualifications or having done.
And if we cannot get it right at the public protector level,
is a problem.
It's a lost cause when it comes to the lower courts.
That is correct. That is correct. That's why the LPC had to make this new act to try and suss out the problematic parts of our profession.
All right, we'll get the political response to that after 7 o'clock this evening. Legal commentator, analyst, Nthabiseng Dubazana, thank you very much indeed. Yuveka, back to you in front of the screen. Let's go to the United States of America.
Yes, and U.S. Democratic candidates Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders will square off today for a place in the presidential race there. Millions of voters in Michigan and 5